Come with me to buy another X-Max, and I'm going to show you guys how to buy a used RC car and make yourself not look so stupid when you're buying them. One thing I recommend bringing is a LiPo checker, but since this is a Traxxas battery, you have to buy a specific Traxxas LiPo checker, which I think I lost. So we're gonna hope for the best that they're not bad. But LiPo checkers are great. They make sure all the things are balanced and the health of the battery is good and they're not gonna go kaboom when you bring them home. But because I don't have the Traxxas one, I can't really test them. One way you could meet up where there's an outlet and you can plug them into the charger, and the charger can help tell you if things are bad or not. If they're bad, the charger will just keep doing this light and it won't go solid. So that's one way to tell if the battery's bad or not. That just means it's flat. It doesn't really tell you if it's balanced or not. But I wish I had a LiPo checker, but I don't. So come with me to go buy another X-Max. Normally I don't buy used batteries, but these are X-Max batteries. I cannot say no to an X-Max battery. So we're gonna go ahead, buy the RC car, take a look at it, see if I can get a deal or not. It is a $900 RC car, but it does come with 4 batteries, a charger, and a light kit. So we'll see. It's not like I don't have enough of them. Also, never show cash before you buy the RC car. Always start saying like how Zelle, stuff like that. Don't let them know you have cash on you. That's a good way to get robbed. And if they say no to Zelle, be like, all right, fine, I do have cash. But don't just rely on Zelle. A lot of people don't have it. So always bring cash just in case. Or you can say, yeah, or if they say, yeah, Zelle works, be like, would you take it in cash once you figure out everything else later? Because you never want to whip out $900 in front of somebody. Coming from somebody who's robbed on OfferUp, you're always going to want to be there first. Number one, make sure you know what car they're driving. Because if something happens and you tell the cops, I don't know what car it was, or you just say, oh, it's a black car, good luck catching them. So that's why I personally like to arrive early, but since I'm going to somebody's house, I feel a little bit more comfortable. And just be careful, guys. OfferUp and Facebook Marketplace and all those other places, it can get scary. And now that I'm back from meeting up with the guy on Facebook Marketplace, this is all I got. So I saw the ad on Facebook Marketplace for exactly $900, and I had to steal it because it doesn't look like a good deal, but it is. The question I'm gonna ask you guys, did I get a good deal? Let's find out. And now that I'm back from my little adventure, I'm gonna show you guys what to look for when you're buying a used RC car. Now, obviously, I didn't record there because it is somebody's house. I'm not gonna show somebody's house, and me talking in front of the camera while I'm trying to talk to them, it's just not a good idea. So went ahead, I bought it, and I brought it home so I can show you guys what to look out for. And this is a great truck for an example because there are a few things wrong with it that he didn't even know about. So I'm going to show you guys what was wrong with it. Hopefully it helps you when you buy an RC car. So let's get into it. Alright, so yes, this whole thing was around $900, but let me break it down for you. These batteries and this charger are $469. So subtract that from the X-Max. Give or take, that's roughly $430. Then we're going to go ahead and subtract $100 for the light kit, Traxxas light kit. Now we're roughly around $330. Now we're going to add in that Bluetooth module on the back, and now we're about $300 for the X-Max. But no, that just doesn't make sense. It's technically $900. Shut up! Because these are brand new batteries. They have exactly one charge on them, and they were Traxxas not refurbished. He sent them old batteries, and they sent them brand new batteries back. So technically, this is worth $469. I could sell these on eBay for basically new batteries without box for probably $400 for the whole setup. So yes, if you break everything down, it does make a lot more sense of why I bought it, and yes, it is a good deal. But now we're going to show you the wrong things with it, and that's the reason I got this car, is so I can show you guys what to look out for. Now, in buying an RC car, always look at the differentials and make sure they are not leaking. If they're leaking, it'll look exactly like that, which means there's gunk all over it. Now, you're going to want to keep an eye out for the shocks because they're also going to look gunky and stuff if they need a new seal or need to be rebuilt. And this car is a perfect example of the second generation X-Max. The second generation is known for having differential problems and leaking in the shocks, so this is literally a perfect example. Next, you're going to want to look in the hubs and make sure nothing is broken. You're also going to want to make sure all the screws are where they're supposed to be. So if you're missing a screw, just be like, hey, it's missing a screw. That could be bad. Maybe $5 off. I don't know. Now moving to the back, you can see a lot more grease from all the differential leakage on this side mainly. This one's actually pretty bad, so we're gonna do a video on rebuilding those. But the shocks in the rear actually look totally fine. Moving on the inside, move the servo, see if there's any crackling or any stiffness. If there is, maybe there's something wrong with the bell crank or the actual servo. I hear some cracking right there, but that seems to be in the bell crank. Also make sure the tires and tie rods are not loose and they're in alignment. The X-Maxx doesn't come with adjustable tie rods or toe links, whatever you want to call them, so you don't have to really worry about that. Now another thing to look out for is when people put their shocks all the way down like this, it's obviously going to spring back up, but that doesn't mean the shock oil inside's good. This just means the coil is doing most of the work instead of the shock fluid and keeping it cold. So we're going to open these up in another video and see actually how bad the shocks look. Moving on to the rear, we're going to dive down there, see if it'll focus. You can see all the gunk kind of building up around there. That definitely means there's something wrong with the center differential in the X-Maxx because that is not normal at all. Look at your connectors, make sure there's no bluing. If there's blue, that means it's definitely been in some water, so you're going to want to keep an eye out for any water damage, like looking at all the open bearings and making sure none of them look kind of rusted or something like that. Now, if your truck comes with batteries like this one did, he went ahead and plugged them all in and showed me that they all held the charge and they all work. So that was great and very nice of him. But you're going to want to do the same or put a LiPo checker to them and make sure they all work. Also, when he plugged them in, it was a great example of showing, hey, the charger actually does work and it reads all the batteries just fine. Another thing you want to do is take the controller, put in some batteries, and give this thing a test run. See how far you can go in the range. If it's really short, then say, hey, is there a different receiver in here? Or if it's just fine, then you can go ahead and make sure that everything else works perfectly fine. Like the motor's not seized up. It reads what you're doing properly with no lag. Traxxas does have a little bit of lag in the remotes, but as long as it's not really laggy, should be fine. For any open bearings like this, you're going to want to go ahead and take an eye and just look, see how crappy and gummed up it is. Like down here, I didn't even notice this earlier, but there is a rock wedged in between the shock. That could limit some mobility. And now I have a free rock with an RC car. Last but not least, take a look at the tires. See how the tread is and see how it's wearing. This one looks to be just fine. It is wearing a little bit too much in here, but you can just quickly rotate them, and Traxxas, their tires are horrible anyways, so they have weird wear patterns. So don't really need to worry about the tires too much, but if they're Proline or Duratrax, maybe worrying about the tires is a good thing. Speaking of tires, go ahead, give them a squeeze, move the car, give it a squeeze. If there's any water in it, you're gonna need some new tires. You never want water and bash your tires. This is a bashing RC car. You don't want anything heavy on the tires. If your tires get heavier, the slower the car gets, the less air, and the more things can break. And you never want water in here because they'll start to balloon and they'll explode. Next up, look at the body and just see the condition of the body. Luckily, this one actually looks pretty unbeaten. I mean, boom, we have a corner right there. Kind of looks like a dog bite or something. But hey, the body looks in great shape. If the body's really ripped up and torn up, you might want to consider asking for a lower price. Now, everything I'm saying does not mean you can go around lowballing people. That is just plain rude. How would you feel if somebody offered like 20 bucks for something you spent a lot of time on? It doesn't feel nice. So just imagine somebody selling this for a reason, and nobody wants to just sell an RC just cause. There's always a reason behind it. Either they don't use it anymore, they need money, or just something else. But also, don't feel scared to ask for a little bit of a lower price, because asking for a lower price is also okay. But the biggest rule out of all this is don't be afraid to walk away. If you're really in the mindset of, hey, this is going to be a great RC car, and you see few problems with it and know they won't go lower, walk away. They might text you back and they might go, all right, I thought about it, I'll come back, and maybe we can meet in the middle, or maybe, hey, I'll take your offer. Other people will most likely come back to you if you walk away. So now that I've personally approved of this RC car, and it's kind of too late because I bought it for a reason of ripping it down and showing you guys how to refurbish an RC car. So in the next video, we're going to tear this thing down on a budget build. We're going to take this $300 X-Maxx and we're going to make it back to a $600 X-Maxx in little money or little time. So if I missed something and you guys have some other tips and tricks, let me know down in the comments below, and stay tuned for me to tear this thing up and see what all is wrong with it, if there is anything.